Hi, Joe Cerrone. In this video, we're going to create this belt roller assembly, and essentially we're going to create the pulley wheel for that assembly. Alright, so let's take a look at this. And so we have this belt roller assembly, and we're going to model this using primitives. There's other ways to do this. We could draw the profile and revolve it. But in this exercise, what we're going to do is we're going to create these cylinder shapes, and you have either the ability to create this in inches. This would be a 2.756 diameter, and the overall size is almost 3 inches. And so we'll create the cylinder shape, and then we'll create 2 more cylinders, and then we'll subtract those. We'll create another cylinder. We'll 3D move it into place. Union it, create another cylinder and subtract it, then create this filleted radius. And that's basically it. So as you can see, we have our brackets in place, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a layer. We're going to call it roller. We'll assign a color to that. We'll set that current. And then we'll start creating the geometry for that. The radius is 1.496 and the height is 1.024. We'll create 2 more cylinders. The radius will be 1.378. and the height will be 0.354. We'll copy it and then place it using object snaps, and what we can do is we can change this to an X-ray view, and then what we'll do is we'll copy this, and then we'll wake up the bottom object snap for the center, and then we'll wake up the bottom for the object snap center there. And then we can do the same in the top. Not exactly, because the object snap is on the bottom for that, and I'll have to move it to the top for that. So to move this one in place, let's just delete that one. And then we can take a look at the shift middle mouse wheel to orientate it. We'll use the subtract command. We'll select the larger shape, hit enter, and then it doesn't look like I can acquire the geometry, so I'm going to go into 2D wireframe and do that again. Subtract, select the larger shape, hit enter, and I'm going to grab this cylinder here and this cylinder here, verify it with a conceptual view, grab an isometric view, and we'll continue. So the next thing that we'll do is to create this cylinder that has a radius of 0.590. and a height of 1.575. We'll move it into place. That looks fine. And then we'll push it down 0.945. And so we'll use a 3D move command for that. We'll grab the z-axis, 0.945. And they said they have ortho on, but if you use the 3D move, it'll stay aligned along the planes as well. We'll union these parts together. And then we'll create another cylinder to be subtracted from this other cylinder. And that's going to have a radius of 0.472 and a height of 1.575. We can change the color of this. And then when we move it, it'll be easier to see. So we've moved that into place, and we'll subtract it now. And it maps that color to the 3D face of the inside cylinder. Shift middle mouse wheel can verify the hole went through. And continuing. We're going to fillet the inside radius at 0.157. Solids, fillet, down arrow, radius 0.157. Acquire the edge, shift middle mouse wheel. You could do it twice otherwise. Enter, enter, shift middle mouse wheel. All right. Since I set the color to this cyan, when we're using these other edited features, it's mapping that color to it. All right, we'll 3D rotate this into place, and then we'll create the bushings. You can use ortho. This is ortho right here. And then you don't have to worry about it walking or being a degree off. There we go. And now we'll create the bushings. We're going to create a new layer. We're going to call it bushing. Select the color of your choice. We'll make that current. And then we'll create the geometry for this bushing. So if we look at this, we basically have this 0.709 and a radius of 1.575. 181. And we'll create that by creating these two cylinders, adding a third and subtracting it, and then unioning them. Alright, so let's get started. We'll create a cylinder. We'll give it a radius of 0.590. And I'm going to make the color by layer so that it'll go back to the original color. .590, and that's going to have a height of 0.118. And then we're going to map another cylinder. I'm going to make it next to it just to see what size it is. 0.472, 0.709. All right. And then we can move this from this center O snap to the top of the center O snap here. We'll union those. And then we'll create another cylinder with a 0.357 diameter and subtract that. Again, if we want to change the color, and kind of override the inside diameter color. Create a cylinder at the top here with a radius of 0.354. We can just pull that all the way through and then subtract it. Verify with an orbit. We can 3D rotate this. And then we can move it into place. I'm going to copy it and move it from the center of this back circle here to the center. And I'm going to escape. I'm going to 3D rotate the other piece. And do the same. Shift middle mouse wheel, move, acquire, and I acquired the wrong one. Move, acquire, and there we have placed our bushings onto our cylinder assembly. All right, that completes this video.